Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is Monday, which means it's time for another 3D model in Blender. Today is an isometric mockup. These are very trendy in a lot of web design and application projects. So if you'd like to learn something new, follow along with me and let's get started. Here we are. So go ahead and start a new project in Blender and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is create the first of our 3 buildings or servers or whatever you want them to be. I'm going to increase the scale of our starting cube. We are going to keep the starting cube this time around. I'm going to reduce the height so we've got a bit of a thinner block going on, and then what I want to do is add that middle spire. Oh, and before I forget, let me just turn on my shortcut viewer. So if I press any keys or click anything as we go along and I didn't quite say what I did, look down here and you will see what I am pressing. Okay, so as I was saying, I'm going to insert that middle beam of the building, which is also going to be the glowy sort of thing. I'm going to go into my top view, scale this down a little bit. I think about there will do, and then press tab to go into edit mode. I'm going to press Alt Z just so I can see through this. 3 to go into faces, click on our face, and then E to extrude this up. You can make this as tall or as short as you want. I'm gonna go with that. That looks good to me. And then what I want to do is create the extra layers we have. But we could go ahead and duplicate this and do it like that. But I want to show you guys the array modifier. And what that is going to do is let us duplicate it automatically without needing to, manually do those things. So I'm going to reduce the X offset to none, increase our Z offset maybe to 1.5. I think that looks pretty good. And then increase the count to 5, and that looks good to me. Pretty accurate with what we are looking for. And you could apply that, but I'm not going to apply it yet because I'm not quite happy with, or not quite finished with these cubes. I'm going to go back into edit mode on this cube here, click this top face, press I to inset, and then E just to extrude this down just a little bit. Alt Z to go back out of X-ray mode, and that just adds a little bit of an extra sort of edge there. And I could apply it now. Yeah, I think I will apply it now because I want to be able to select the top face, and now this is actually selectable and we can, edit this and do some stuff with it. And what I want to do is create this little top area, so I'm going to inset this face here by pressing I, and then I think I will extrude this up a little bit, inset it again, extrude again, and then insert and extrude this down a bit. And all I'm trying to do here is create something with a bit more geometry, make it look a little bit more interesting on the eye so that it's a little bit more attractive when it comes to rendering, and a little bit more futuristic looking, And then I think I'm going to press 2 to go into edge mode. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so I can click on these inner edges. Click here, and lastly the last one over here. Make sure you're holding shift throughout, and then when you're satisfied, press Ctrl B, and that's going to bevel the edges. You can scroll your mouse wheel up and down to change the amount of extra vertices you're putting in here, so that you can make it smoother or more blocky if you wanted to, but I'm just going to put, say, about 5 in. Make it's only a subtle curve, and that looks pretty good to me. Okay, I'm going to stick with that for now. That's pretty much this building done. Now we can go on to the next one. What I'm going to do is, kind of wanted to duplicate this, but I suppose because I've already used it now, I'm just going to create a mesh, go into top view, S to scale this up so it's about the same. We're not looking to be exact in this tutorial, and then press G, Y to move this along. I think I'm going to press 3 so we know this is exactly 3 spaces up, and then tab into edit mode 3, extrude this up to about here maybe. And how is that looking in terms of width? This is just me being fussy at this point, but I think that looks okay. Alright, so we've got this extra block right here, and next I think I'm going to move this over here just a little bit. No, maybe not. I'm just being fussy. Right, so we're going to do the top edge on this as well. So we're going to tab back into edit mode, do the same things we did last time. Select the top face, I to inset, E to extrude it down, I to inset again, and then I'm just going to create some extra geometry here. You can do whatever you want. I'm going to press I to inset again up here, and then on the last one bring it in like so. But I am going to do something a little bit different on top here. So I'm going to zoom in just so I can get a better look. Right click, and I'm going to click Subdivide, and then you'll get this little menu down here. Open this up, and I'm just going to create, say, around 6 subdivisions. And what this is going to let us do is just to come in here and select these extra faces, press E to extrude those down, and you get an extra, I don't know what this is, some sort of port, some sort of insert, just something with a little bit more geometry so it's not quite as flat or as plain. And then I want to create some sort of windows maybe over here, something just to look a bit more interesting. So I think I'll do the same again. I'll subdivide this surface a whole bunch of times just to give us something to work with. 6 times looks pretty good to me. And I'm going to hold shift, select this, and I think I'm going to, yeah, I think that'll do. I'm going to press E to extrude this inwards. Now I'm not making this exactly like my version, but as long as it's near enough close to, and you get the general idea of how I made this, you can go ahead and let your imagination run wild, because that's why we're here in the end. We're here to learn new skills that we can use and create some new and beautiful and amazing things. So now I'm going to go back to top view, shift A, add another mesh, and expand this a little bit too, just so it's around about the same size. We're not being exact with this one. GX, oh, not X, yeah, GX. Oh, well, if I was selecting my face first, GX, and it was 3. But remember, we're going backwards here, so this is -3. And then I'm just going to go into edit mode again. 3 for faces, extrude this up. Gonna make this near enough as tall as the other building. GZ to move this top face around until I'm quite happy with it. Yeah, I kind of like that. Oh, actually, we're not going to be able to use that because I'm trying to make it like the design, and it's a little bit different. This one is more of a tower that climbs up a little bit first. Then I'm going to press E to extrude, right click, and then S to scale this out. Not too much, and then E to extrude up again, I to inset, and E to extrude back down. And now we've got this interesting, like, tower thing going on, where it narrows in the center, kind of like that. And then I've got a bit of almost like a switchboard looking thing going on the front in the design. So if I just click on this face, I to inset, and then E to extrude this out. Going to click on the face, subdivide it a whole bunch of times just to give us something to work with. 8 might be too much. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to go with it. I'm going to make it work. And then I think I'm going to... Right, let's work this out. So click on this. Yeah, that looks kind of cool. Maybe do these. Actually, I'm going to keep these as just cubes. And then E to extrude these in just a tad, just to create that extra geometry. And okay, you can't see too much right now, but when we add some texture and colors and glows to these areas, it'll stand out a lot more. And then I'm going to create some edge loops down here. maybe about, I'm not sure how many we've got here. Let me count these out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Yeah, looks good to me. And then I'm going to press Ctrl R to create 2 cuts in the middle here. Right click to center those, and then I'm just going to do S, Z to bring this out. And then 3 to go into face mode. I'm going to select every other face, and then E to extrude those in. And that looks cool to me. I'm going to do the same on this inner face, because even though it's not going to be hugely visible, SY to bring this out, even though it's not going to be hugely visible, I still want to add something a little bit more distinct on this inner side. Then E to extrude that in. And I think we're almost there. This is coming along very quickly. So I think all that's left to do right now, I'm going to add a plane. Oh, whoop. Undo that. Make sure you're in object mode. Okay, object mode. Plane S20, just to give us something to work on. I will press GZ to bring this down a little bit, because if you notice in the design, these buildings do have a bit of a hover. I notice this one's a bit low, so let me just GZ, bring this up to about level with the rest. Looking good. And now it's time to go into adding some textures. So initially we're going to have to switch over into the shading view or material view to get that material preview, and let's select some colors. You can use whatever you want, but for the base of our building, come down here into materials. I'm going to try to keep it as close to the original design as I can. I had a bit of a, I don't know if I want to go dark or light with this, but I'm going to keep it bright initially, and then I'm going to try to use the lighting to create more of the darkness. So maybe just keep it around the purpley dark blue area, because I kind of like those colors, and that sort of spectrum I think is quite nice. Adds a little something, and then you can add that to these buildings too. It might be wise to name this. I'm just going to call it building base. So this is the base color, and by doing this you can adjust this as much as you want as you go along. Maybe keep it a bit dark like that. And then I want to adjust this inner tower, because this is going to be our, I'm going to call it energy, because I guess that's what's supposed to be, just like the future of glowing power and energy and stuff. And what we're going to do is go into your surface here and select emission, and that is just going to say this is a glowing material. It's going to be glowing to an extent, and if you won't be able to see it initially, I'm going to increase this to 5 because that's what I'm using, and you're still not going to see it. But if we come into our scene properties here and click on ambient occlusion and bloom, and now you can see this gives you a general idea of what it's going to look like. Of course it'll be more accurate in rendered mode, but let's play around with the colors a bit more first, and then we'll look to that. So I want this more of a slightly pinky color to match what we're going with. That looks good to me, and I think I'm happy with that. I don't want to spend too much time on this, so let's carry on and apply this energy to some other areas. But before I do, let me just play around with the use nodes. Oh, what have I done? Let me just reapply this. Make sure you're using nodes there. I'm going to drop this down a little bit, and then I want to reduce the roughness to around 0.2, increase the metallic to around 0.8, and that's going to help to get that nice shine when we add some light into this scene. Okay, I like that. Okay, so as I was saying, tab back into edit mode, 3 for faces. I'm going to make this. So what we're going to do is do plus, energy, and assign. And okay, that's kind of cool. And then I'm going to move over to this one, tab into edit mode, 3 for faces. I'm going to click on these 3 areas that I created. Go plus once again. Go on the drop down, click energy, assign. And then I'm going to do the same with these 3 areas here. energy, assign. Nice. Now we're getting this nice glow effect going on. I like it. Tab out into object mode, back into edit mode on this building, and let's do this section 3 to go into face select mode. Click all your faces again. Plus, select our energy material, assign it to that, and that's looking good. I'm gonna do the same again. Okay, I was trying to select that, but I'm gonna select those. Gonna come all around here and apply, and then lastly these sort of window like areas I'm going to assign, and we're almost there. This is looking very good. We're almost to the end of this design. I'm going to select our plane here and give out the same materials our building. That's very reflective. Maybe I'll give this a separate one. I'm going to create a new one called plane, and I want it to have a similar color. I'm just going to remove this color. Similar, but maybe a bit brighter and a bit less reflective. So maybe give it like a 0.7 roughness. And okay, scale this up by another 20 just so I don't see the edge. Okay, that's looking cool. Right, so now we can focus on some lighting. So let's go into our rendered preview. You can see the scene right now is quite dark. So the first thing I'm going to do is press Shift A to add a light. I'm going to do an area light. Press G, Z to bring this up. I'm going to increase the wattage to around maybe 800. And then S to scale this up. And when you scale this up, what that is going to do is reduce the harshness of the shadows, because I want something quite soft looking. And this scene is quite dark, so if I go into our world properties, perhaps bring this up a little bit and lean it towards the purpley spectrum, and this will increase the overall brightness of your world. As well as if we come into our render properties, color management, I'm going to adjust the look using the options here, and perhaps go into high contrast, which is going to really just make those colors pop. And maybe increase the exposure to 1.5. And this is looking really blown out right now. If I move this back and perhaps Shift A, or I'll tell you what, I can duplicate this one, Shift D on the light, bring this one relatively close to the back, because what I'm going to try and achieve here is that shine that you saw on top in the other design. But of course it was like a nice light blue to make it look very futuristic, and this needs to be pretty bright to really pop, you know, to really pop. And I meant to do 3000, increase the radius quite a bit so it really reflects nicely. And if I just pop into our render property, scroll up, click on cycles, and we're almost there. That's pretty much it. So if I just leave that render out, we've got this nice shine going on, we've got a bit more of a glow. You can see this, that's actually shooting off the bottom there. I don't really want, oh whoops, don't really want that. If I just press H on the plane, right, I can see what's going on here. If I press G, Z, I want to move this up a little bit because I don't want that glow coming out of the bottom there. Alt H to bring back the plane. And to get an isometric view, I have an add-on enabled. I will leave a link in the description for you, but if I just go into edit, preferences, it's called the IsoCam add-on. And what this add-on is going to let us do is add a camera which is automatically configured to look and give you a really good isometric angle. So if I press Shift A, create IsoCam, I'm going to go with the game IsoCam. I was going to say Gamel Scam. Bad reading there. I'm going to zoom this out a little bit. Shift it up on the, undo that. Shift it up on the y-axis. Okay, that looks good. Go to cycles. Render this out with F12. I'm going to fast forward this view. And that about does it for this tutorial. If you did make it to the end, go ahead and let me know by leaving a comment down below. But if you'd like to show your support, please go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel. I'm still growing and we've got a long way to go. But until next time, stay safe out there and I'll catch you in the next one.